Groundwater, a crucial resource to our community, especially now. Unlike many of our other water sources that must be transported from miles away, groundwater is one of the only local sources we can rely on.
Groundwater is very critical during droughts and emergencies. It's really our truly only local resource for potable water that's currently operational. Our surface water is our primary water supplies when it's available, and it's located on the other side of the mountains and transported through tunnels. If we were to have an event where there was a tunnel collapse, groundwater would be our only resource available for drinking water.
The last 4 years have been the driest consecutive 4 years at Gibraltar in 96 years of recorded history. To date, we have received about 45 inches of rainfall, compared with about 55 inches over 1987 to 1990, which were the first 4 years of the last major drought in Santa Barbara. With little supply from Lake Cachuma and Gibraltar Reservoir, groundwater is one of the sources we look to supplement our supply.
In normal years, surface water is our primary water source, and groundwater provides roughly 5% of our supplies. And we reserve our groundwater supply for times of droughts and emergencies. So right now we're working to increase and ramp up our groundwater supply to about 20% of our water supply. And then after the drought is over, when we have surface water and our reservoirs are full, we allow our groundwater basins to rest and the groundwater levels to recover.
Our groundwater supply is recharged by rainfall that accumulates in 2 large underground basins.
The city has 2 primary groundwater basins, which are the Foothill Basin and the Storage Unit 1, also known as the Downtown Basin. In the Foothill Basin, the city has 3 wells which are in operation and have been since the drought was declared. There are other pumpers in the basin as well. So our water levels that we are watching, they are relatively low, but we are still producing water from those wells. In our Storage Unit 1, we have the Ortega Groundwater Treatment Plant, and we currently have 2 wells online feeding the plant and are working on a number of groundwater well projects to increase production capacity in Storage Unit 1.
The city has a number of wells within these basins, including the Alameda Park well, which is currently being replaced.
The city has quite a few wells. This is the 5th well within what we call the lower portion. Our other wells are what we call Corporation Yard well, City Hall well, Veracruz well, and we also have another high school well that's not online, but we are working on to put that in line in the system as well.
We're replacing the old Alameda Park well. We'll ream the hole out to a larger diameter so that we can drop in the water well casing, which is going to be a stainless steel 12-inch diameter casing. And at the bottom portion of the casing is the well screen, which is open, it's perforated, that allows water to go from the aquifer into the borehole into the well. And then after that, the final portion of the project will be the pumping and the test pumping to verify what the yield of the well will be.
The Alameda Park well has been out of service since February due to a failure in the well structure. Because groundwater is such a valuable resource, replacing this well is a major priority.
The old well was a mild steel which ended up deteriorating over time. This one is a stainless steel which will hopefully help over time and the deterioration of being in the ground and all of the contaminants within that.
While each well is different, the Alameda Park well is expected to deliver 550 gallons per minute once it's back online. Treatment of groundwater also varies from well to well.
Some wells require less treatment. In our Foothill Basin, the water quality is sufficient that we can do minimal treatment with just disinfection before it can be put into the distribution system. In Storage Unit 1, we are treating for naturally occurring constituents such as iron and manganese, and that treatment occurs at our Ortega Groundwater Treatment Plant. Most of the wells in Storage Unit 1 require treatment at Ortega Groundwater Treatment Plant, with the exception of one well, which is Alameda well.
This particular well, the groundwater is very what we call good, so it can go directly into the distribution with minimal treatment.
Unfortunately, groundwater supplies have been heavily depleted in some parts of California, which is why the state recently passed new legislation called the Groundwater Sustainability Act, which allows for local management of groundwater basins.
The city's basins are not on the list of the highest ranked basins with groundwater issues. However, we are watching it closely because any groundwater basin that is ranked a high priority must develop a groundwater sustainability plan. So the city has been managing our groundwater basins and is looking into what we need to do to be in compliance with the state.
While groundwater is a great source to rely on during the drought, our basins are too small to supply all of our needs and could be depleted if the drought continues for several more years. Conservation is critical to preserve remaining supplies, especially during times like these.